Hi, Rabble.
Hey, Alice.
So we have had a week.
Absolutely.
Let's tell everybody what we've been up to. So we just came back from Web Summit in Lisbon.
Yep.
Where you made a big announcement, which was?
I announced an app that I've been working on for the last 3 months, Divine, which brings back the vision of Vine and a whole bunch of the original Vines. We built a video sharing app.
Which is amazing. And so 6-second
The whole original idea of Vine was that they were 6-second looping videos that were tremendously viral, and they were sources of so many memes and so much creativity. And like the 140 characters of the tweet, you have to really condense down the storytelling into 6 seconds.
And so Vine was super popular. It got acquired by Twitter.
Yep.
And then
it never got a business model.
Right.
And it was the first social media platform that had really influential creators who became influencers. And there became a conflict between the creators and the platform. And they never found a business model that made sense for it. And the creators eventually went off to Instagram and YouTube and other places.
And I think there was a lot of sadness when that happened, right? That the creators were really sad because they had loved this platform and invested so much of their energy and creativity into it, yet they weren't making any money from that effort. And then the users, I mean, people just loved Vine.
People loved Vine, but the company Twitter struggled with how to pay for it and struggled with what the business model was. And so Jack had just come back into Twitter and was trying to right the ship and get the company profitable. And Vine was costing them $5 or $6 million a month to run. He made the decision to shut it down, but he has said since that it was the biggest regret of his time running Twitter.
Yeah, I think that was in an article a few years ago.
Yeah.
So we launched this, and you know, as you said, you've mostly been building this on your own.
Yep.
We were like, well, let's see what the reception is like, and we put out a press release, and we briefed Sarah Perez at TechCrunch, who wrote a great article. And then what happened?
So it sort of blew up, and part of the reason it blew up is because we paired the old vision of Vine, this nostalgia for this format that's really condensed, quite difficult to work with, but very creative, with something new and is very timely, which is a rejection of artificial intelligence, a rejection of AI slop for content creation,
Right.
and focusing on humans.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a minute. You know, like many people, I still spend a bit of time on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and you know, over the last few months, 6, 12, especially with Sora and more, there's just so much content now, like more and more videos. And then you see in the comments all these debates. Well, that's AI. How could you not tell? No, it's not. I love it. It's super sweet. But the platforms aren't really doing anything about labeling. They're not.
Well, they
taking a stance.
said that they would label things,
Right.
but they're clearly not. And in fact, if you listen to Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or Sam Altman, they all now are super excited about the idea of all AI.
Right.
All AI social media. So you have Sora, which is a social media platform where you can't create any of your own content except by prompting the AI. And they're very tone deaf in terms of how people are actually reacting to this,
Right.
of not wanting their social media to be entirely artificial.
And so the reaction was, I mean, overwhelming, unexpected, and nothing like either of us have seen before, and we've been in tech for a really long time.
I remember when Kevin launched Instagram and over 100,000 people signed up for it the first day.
Right.
And the reason that was is because Biz and Jack and everyone, we had all knew Kevin. And so we tweeted about Instagram to boost it up.
Right.
And that blew my mind. But the reaction that we've seen for Divine is something different altogether. It really sort of hit a nerve.
Yeah, that's funny. We said that at the same time. And so we didn't get hundreds of thousands of downloads because we launched in beta.
We launched in TestFlight, and which is sort of Apple's beta test system for iOS. And I expected a few hundred people to sign up, maybe a couple thousand, and it would let us test the servers and figure out how everything worked and optimize it and really confirm this proof mode is a way of proving that it's not AI. And what happened was it started getting picked up and it started going viral and people really hooked into it. And we immediately filled up the 10,000 person test flight.
Right.
And we immediately overwhelmed the servers completely because I hadn't designed the system to expect hundreds of thousands of people immediately.
Right.
And everything crashed. And the worst part about this is we were immediately flying from Lisbon back to San Francisco.
I know, that was the most painful flight.
I was literally trying to keep the servers going and push out releases of the app from the airplane.
I know.
And
we were sitting like 3 seats apart and I kept like trying to get to, is your Wi-Fi working? I mean, it was the most torturous flight. Like, but you know, so we got the 10,000 downloads. We've got people in there. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people came to the website. You can experience it on the website. So the website is divine.video.
Divine.video, and you can see a version of the website, and you can even comment and engage with people, and you can engage with the lists and likes. But it's a little bit flaky because we still don't quite have the servers ready to handle the scale. And you know, ironically enough, this was Twitter's problem too. That's where the fail whale comes from. And Twitter had over a year of growth before it started
hitting the ceiling.
Hitting the ceiling. This was hours. And I'm not sure that all of the servers are quite ready to handle the load of traffic we're having. But you know, I've spent a bunch of time allocating servers and designing them and working on it. And Divine was originally a project that I did all of the coding, all of the clients, the web, the clients, the design, the servers, everything else. But as it's hit a nerve, I've had to pull in a bunch of friends and other technologists to help. Just in order to meet the demands. And we have so many people just beating down the doors, begging for accounts.
Well, and then people sending us their resumes and like even brands contacting us. And so, I mean, we really seem to have like shown up at a time when people are hungry for something new that also feels old and familiar. We've all been talking about the fact that like this is the first time we've done anything our kids are excited about.
Yeah, the thing that is really neat is that yes, people are excited about seeing the old Vines, and it's fun to see those classic old Vines of, you know, LeBron James and all of these other really classic internet memes. And it's neat to have them back. But they were on YouTube and you could have found them on Instagram. What really is interesting is to watch how quickly people have taken up that continuity of the Vines of the past into the Divines that we have today, where people are doing references to the memes and they're doing new things. And it is absolutely hilarious to see this new wave of creators using this relatively old form of social media.
Yeah, I mean, they have just embraced it. I mean, and we've already got like, you know, people with lots of followers, lots of comments happening, and it's so exciting to see. And like, even though some of, you know, a lot of the content from Vine was available on YouTube, there's still things that, you know, I was watching a young woman just look at the app yesterday, and I mean, it was like she saw an old friend. I mean, like the joy that it unleashed. And I think we've come at a time where, you know, it's a bit of a doom and gloom environment that we're living in. And this is something like pure and innocent and fun, you know?
And part of the reason I built Divine was I wanted an example of this social media bill of rights. I wanted this idea that users own their own name and their content, that we get say over the algorithms and that we get, you know, transparency over them, that we get the right to exit because it's built on this Nostr protocol, which means if you don't like our media servers or our content rules or the way we're doing it, you can put in other servers as part of this larger network. That opens up a lot of opportunities. So we get a blue sky like choose your algorithm and choose your moderator. And that gives you access to self-governance where groups of people communities, organizations could provide their own sets of moderation on top of this.
Yeah, and I think like to just talk a little bit more about like why this is open, permissionless, decentralized. Those are maybe buzzwords that the average consumer doesn't quite understand. But you know, to put it a different way, like if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you are creating content. A lot of us create content often, but we're not earning money from it because we don't have a ton of followers, we're not influencers, and yet, you know, we are really what is making the platform money.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about like trying to give a little bit of power back to the creators.
At Web Summit, I sat down and interviewed Cory Doctorow. And Cory has just released this new book on enshittification. And enshittification is this idea that things start out good.
Positive,
all these
hopeful,
internet stuff like, you know, blogging or podcasting or Twitter or Instagram, Facebook. It was like, oh, this is great and this is wonderful. And we come in and we're enjoying it. And then we all get hooked and it becomes integrated into part of our lives, our culture, our community, our economy. And then these companies create choke points where they now have control. And then everything gets enshittified because they can extract incredible value. I mean, Facebook has $350 billion a year in revenue. That's insane.
Yeah.
But the way we built Divine on an open source platform, on an open protocol, it might not matter to people who just want to watch the funny videos, but the goal is that it is something that will in the future resist enshittification. Because once you start using it, you have power in the situation. And if I, the creator of Divine, decides that I'm gonna go evil or I'm gonna try and extract an unfair amount of value out of the system, I'm gonna seek rent and like do that, then people can leave because I don't control it. Just like no one person controls the web. No one person controls email.
Right.
No one person controls podcasting.
Right.
And yet we accept that one person controls Instagram and one person controls Twitter, one person controls TikTok. Like that is a dystopian nightmare. And so Divine isn't just fun videos, but also shows us a future of social media where power is shared.
Yeah, that there is an alternative way. I think one thing that maybe is interesting for us just to kind of touch on before we wrap up here is that, you know, we have this mission wherever possible to ensure that the content is not AI generated. But does that mean that we're not using AI in building the app, serving the app? You know, how do we think about that?
I'm not opposed to using, you know, LLMs and generative AI. I'm opposed to the idea that it is privately held or controlled by a single thing. I'm a big fan of open source large language models, open source AI. I think it's really important that a few small companies don't control it. And I'm not opposed to the idea of using it. I used it quite a lot in the generating of the code and was able to move much more quickly and was able to evolve and iterate and explore in building it. And I think that it's important to distinguish between using AI to build the tools, where I am using a set of things to iterate and create, but it's people who use it and it's open source, and using AI to create the content, because a lot of what Meta AI is trying to do, or what Sora is trying to do, is almost replace the creators as having an importance. It's like if we didn't have all these pesky creators complaining and asking for money, and if it was just computers that did this, and we see the same thing with some people in Silicon Valley being very excited about AI because maybe we can get rid of these pesky engineers that demand that we have social responsibility in our businesses and, you know, want baristas on every floor and like fancy meals.
Or want to be paid.
Yes, or want to be paid at all.
Yeah. I think it's just, you know, been such a phenomenal, exciting few days. Of course, I mean, we're barely at the beginning. Next step is work the beta.
Yep.
And get to launch.
Yeah, we have to work the beta. We have to make sure it's ready. We have to test it with our users. And we're seeing people post dozens and dozens of these. And we're also seeing people try and push the limits and figure out what's acceptable. You know, every time you build a new social media platform, you fast run through the very complicated world of content moderation and trust and safety. And the way we're facing it now is different than others because we can kick people off of our servers and so that it's not, you know, I'm not responsible for their content, I'm not hosting it, but users can go and access other servers, just like you can go to different websites. And so I won't host the content that I don't think is appropriate, and you can choose what content you host and think is appropriate. And that, I think, is a way of handling social media that reflects society in a better way. And so we are in the process of doing that. We're beta testing. We've got the 10,000 users. We're going to open it up to some more users on Android as well so that we can test there and verify that our AI detection works correctly and our proof mode verification of the content works and that the videos load fast and that we have a good experience. And then hopefully soon we'll be able to open it up to even larger crowds of people. But we didn't expect so many people to sign up for this and want to use it. So we've had to take a bit of a step back and go, oh shit, how do we meet the excitement and the demand so that people aren't disappointed and so it actually works.
So they have a great experience. So if folks want to get alerted as to when our, you know, either our Android beta app is released or either when we go to general release, they can sign up to a newsletter on our website, which is, again, divine.video.
And you can see the creative works of the people who are in the beta test. So you can go to the website and you can see some of these early creators and how they're doing it and start engaging with it. And you can see the older vines. And we have a good set of the older vines on there, but we have many more that we are processing because it's a sort of a data archaeology to get them out. And so over time, we're going to be able to continue to release these old ones and set ourselves up to give the accounts back to the old Viners so that people can reclaim their old accounts.
Yeah, so a couple of things there. We get some questions about, well, where do the old Vine videos come from? So
we got the Vine videos from the Internet Archive. So that they're the people who make the Wayback Machine, and they're dedicated to saving internet history. And a group of volunteers called Archive Team went and they crawled the Vine site and the app before it shut down. And they made these massive files and archives of them, but they were completely inaccessible. They were a format that was there, you know, each of them was 40 gigabyte files. And so we had to retake that apart and reconstruct it.
Yeah, that sounds hard. So the other question we get asked is like, well, actually, I don't want my old videos up there. Is there a means for people to have them taken down?
Absolutely. We've had a number of people who've reached out and said, you know, I was a kid when I recorded those videos, or that was really embarrassing, or I just don't feel like it. Like, I don't want them back. I don't want them back, or they're mine. Don't put them up there. And we are absolutely going to respect your copyright on that. And when you fill out the form, you email us, we keep track of it. We make sure that those things aren't going to either be published, or if they are already, we take them down. And people have also asked if we're going to sell the new data, the new videos people make, and the new content to AI companies for training. And that is not our business model. We will never sell the data to these large language models. We can't keep them from looking at this app and looking at the content and crawling it, just like Blue Sky is not selling their data to these AI companies, but they have no reliable way in this internet protocol to 100% lock them out.
Well, we have many, many exciting days ahead. We have a lot of work to do. We're so thrilled to be on this adventure and to really have brought, I think, a bright spot to so many people already, and we're barely out there, so.
Yeah, no, it's amazing the reaction and attention that it has gotten. And every time I put the app on someone's phone or I give them the phone and they start playing with it, just the sparkle in people's eye and the laughing and the joying. And in this day and age, we need more joy.
It's so true. Well, on that note, until next time.
Yeah, thank you.